I definitely believe that we will get to the future where everybody will have the access to their own genomic and also healthcare data set itself. That's the vision and that's the future that I envisioned the world to be.
Founders Theory.
Hai folks, hari ini edisi spesial karena narasumbernya Mr. Aloysius Liang, founder dan CEO dari Asaren, Singaporean yang tinggal di Indonesia, hadir khusus di sini untuk diskusi tentang bisnis. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Folks, jadi sepanjang episode ini kita mohon izin kalau terkadang pakai bahasa Indonesia, kadang pakai bahasa Inggris. Nanti yang pakai bahasa Inggris kita akan ada subtitlenya.
Sure.
Supaya semua bisa mengerti. Kita punya sedikit kesamaan selain kalau Mr. Al wajahnya mirip Jay Chou. Saya enggak. Saya merasa mirip Andy Lau sedikit. Berharap. Tapi juga saya punya anak namanya Akasa, dipanggil Asa. Terus saya ajarin dia baca huruf A, S, A itu di tempat klien, Youth Beauty Clinic. Ya itu ada banner, roll banner Asa Ren. Aku Asa, A, S, A, Asa, nama Asa nih. Ternyata Mr. Al juga nama anaknya Asa juga.
Yes.
Menarik. Mr. Al, boleh gak diceritain 7 tahun yang lalu ketika ibu sakit thyroid cancer.
Yes.
Sampai akhirnya itu jadi inspirasi mendirikan Asaren.
Yes. I think this is my thesis when it comes down to building Asaren itself. Asa stands for Jangan Putus Asa, and that's basically hope. Ren in Korean and also in Mandarin stands for humanity and also compassion. So what we have been trying to build since 7 years ago is a hope for humanity.
Yes.
And our goal has never been limited to only DNA testing or clinical testing. What we are trying to do is to be able to build a way of life. How are we able to create a way of living, preventive healthcare? And I think that everything starts from the intention to want to change. And people ask me, what is Asaren? Is it a DNA company? Is it a healthcare company? Is it an AI company? I say that we are a movement. The movement to change how people live their life. And that's the reason why we started Asaren. My mom, I think she's the perfect example. She did not, unfortunately, she wasn't exposed to this sort of preventive healthcare or even healthy living and how you should live your life or even DNA testing so many years ago. That's why she was, I would say, a very unfortunate victim of the very broken healthcare system. Not in Indonesia, but probably in some other places. Indonesia is still okay.
Konoha.
Yeah, and I think that that's the reason why we started Asaren, which is essentially to drive people to start understanding more about themselves in order to live a life that makes sense for themselves.
Interesting. Folks, ibu dari Mr. Al adalah orang Indonesia campur Chinese dan Korea.
Yes.
Indonesian, Chinese, dan Korea. Tapi ada Indonesian juga. Indonesia dari daerah mana, Mister?
Kayak Jakarta.
Jakarta ya. Jadi 7 tahun lalu kena kanker tiroid, tapi hari ini
She's around. She's still around.
nggak ada gejala-gejala yang membuatnya tidak bisa menjalani hidup dengan tidak nyaman.
So 7 years ago, most of the doctors that we see always say the same thing, right? It's
6
either
months, 6 months.
you either got 6 more months to live, or you have to go for an operation, cut a hole in your throat and put a tube from your throat to your nose, to your mouth, for the rest of your life. Now that is actually very painful, right?
Yeah.
Especially she's a foodie. So she can't eat if she were to go for the operation. We had no choice, and as an entrepreneur, basically you don't take no as an answer. So you have to find a way to make sure you can find a solution. And that solution that I came across was DNA testing, pharmacogenomics, and precision medicine. But the problem at the same time was it's expensive.
Yeah.
It's not covered by insurance. And the people who are administrating this technology don't know what they're talking about as well. And that's the reason why I have to get to the point of studying and learning it myself.
Okay.
So after investing a lot of money, investing a lot of time, I realized that this thing works because we're talking about efficacy itself.
Yeah.
7 years later, now my mom is still around as compared to what the doctors actually say. I think that there's some truth in whatever technology and precision medicine that she actually went through. But the problem is, are the people in Indonesia or even Southeast Asia exposed to such a technology?
Yeah.
I don't know. And I think that that's our job to make sure that we are
Yeah.
able to democratize this technology for people.
Yeah.
We are always fascinated about the future, right? I think people like us, we're always talking about the future. But today we have the ability to create the future.
Yeah. You shape one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we are trying to do in Asaren.
Wow. Jadi kalau secara spesifik, apakah ibu dari Mr. Al itu sampai sekarang masih sehat? Itu karena teknologi yang juga sejenis dikembangkan Asaren atau seperti apa?
So there's many different parts to how she actually, I would say, keep her condition in control. Yeah. I think starting from, if I could say, knowing herself, which is the DNA testing,
Okay.
to administrating a precision medicine in the area of cell therapy. And then after that, she takes care of herself in terms of a diet, exercising. That all helps and contribute to the longevity of her current situation.
Diet based on DNA testing.
Yes. She
Interesting.
does something called a Gerson therapy. She only eat raw vegetable and it's all blended. So she would just drink juice. And it's not a Monday to Friday and Saturday, Sunday she go for a cheat day. She don't do that. She do that for the past 7 years.
Wow.
I have full respect for her for that.
Wow.
We try to do like juice diet, intermittent fasting, and sometimes we're like, we want to go for cheat day. It's difficult. Can you imagine for someone to go through that for 7 years?
Wow. Dan yang menarik adalah Asaren adalah first clinical genomic database company
Yes.
in Indonesia. Dengan inspirasi awal 7 tahun yang lalu, ibu sakit dan ternyata sudah divonis 6 bulan lagi sudah tidak bisa.
Yeah.
Tapi ternyata dengan beberapa hal pendekatan juga pasti kehendak dari yang di atas mengizinkan ibu masih hidup dan Asaren bisa menjadi pemberi harapan bukan hanya untuk ibu tapi juga untuk sangat banyak orang. Sekarang berapa banyak pengguna atau klien Asaren?
We have got more than 10,000 users for sure. We are also working with Rumah Sakit,
Yeah.
and I think that helps us to expose our technology to a lot of people that is actually in need, not just consumer who is interested in their ancestry, not only people who are interested in consumer genomics, but also people who are in need of real genomic clinical testing, like oncology or even pharmacogenomics itself.
Ya,
Yeah,
menarik. Jadi sekarang kita mulai sedikit lebih spesifik.
sure.
Tadi kita sudah membayangkan setidaknya Asaren ini adalah bisnis yang menggunakan pendekatan DNA testing, bisa untuk pengobatan penyakit, untuk mengecek garis keturunan, dan beberapa fungsi lainnya. Tapi sebenarnya apa yang secara spesifik dan praktis dilakukan Asaren ketika misalnya saya klien, apa yang bisa Asaren lakukan?
Let's start from the definition of clinical genomics itself. I think the idea of clinical genomics is basically democratizing your data sets as healthcare data sets, if I could say. I presume you drive a car.
Ya,
Would you drive a car if you don't have the data about your car? How fast you're driving, what's your speedonomics and everything?
very dangerous.
Yeah, you can't, right? Essentially, you can't. How can we live our life driving this life if we don't have the data set in front of us? We can't as well. So I think the first idea of clinical genomics is to decipher the mystery about our human life through our genomics and clinical data sets and giving that data sets back to the user first. I think that that's really fundamentally what it really means. And it doesn't mean that it is only in the area of genomics. It can also come in many form of areas. Again, from clinical, from genomics, from your lifestyle, from even the websites that you browse, the music that you listen, your mood, your everything. It all affects how you're going to live your life,
Yeah.
how you're going to live your day. And I think that essentially that is the fundamental, once again, when it comes down to preventive healthcare, knowing your data before you are able to take action on your data sets.
Ya. Berarti salah satu pesan kunci dari positioning bisnisnya Asaren adalah jangan tunggu sakit baru berobat. Sebisa mungkin jangan sampai sakit.
Yes.
Kalau bisa selalu sehat, kenapa harus sakit? Karena kalau orang bilang sehat itu mahal, sakit lebih mahal.
Yes.
Apalagi kalau ada beberapa penyakit yang tidak bisa tercover asuransi. Jadi ini satu hal yang menarik. Sekarang kalau kita explore fungsionalnya, apa yang bisa dilakukan oleh sebuah clinicogenomic database company? Satu, yang paling penting menurut saya adalah mungkin bisa mengetahui makanan apa atau diet apa yang cocok buat saya konsumsi. Yang mungkin kalau selama ini sekarang orang mikirnya, paling keren itu atau paling bener itu intermittent fasting. Oh enggak, yang paling bener itu kamu keto diet dan segala macam. Tapi faktanya dengan DNA testing semua orang punya diet yang berbeda.
Yes.
Benarkah begitu?
Yes. I think keto and intermittent is a very good example because a lot of people are advocating keto and also intermittent fasting because of the idea of longevity itself. And don't get me wrong, we build our thesis on longevity. But longevity also comprises of knowing yourself before you are able to act. Because everyone's genomic is different, right? So yes, you are very right. Not everybody is suitable to do intermittent fasting. Not everybody should abstain from carbs. Not everybody should not, for example, eat red meat.
Yeah.
If you have got you are susceptible to, let's say, inflammation in your body, you stay away from red meat. You eat white meat, but doesn't mean that you are not supposed to take any alcohol. There are some people who can take alcohol better than the others. And that all comes down to also your genomics.
Ya.
So that is actually very important for us to know.
Ya. Dan selain untuk sehat juga mungkin kalau secara praktis lifestyle mereka biasanya bukan untuk sehat, mereka untuk kurus.
Yeah.
Supaya kurus itu pun DNA setiap orang berbeda-beda. Tapi kalau untuk konteks memahami ini, artinya kan pasar middle low ini sejauh ini masih belum bisa jadi target pasar.
Sure.
Setidaknya pasar middle up, yang bukan hanya mungkin punya uangnya, tapi juga mulai punya kesadaran atau awareness bahwa ini sesuatu yang penting. Tapi apakah memang target akhir dari Mr. Al adalah untuk middle up, atau satu hari di mana satu dunia siapapun itu, nggak ada kelas ekonomi, tapi semuanya mengerti DNA-nya masing-masing?
I definitely believe that we will get to the future where everybody will have the access to their own genomic and also healthcare data set itself. That's the vision, and that's the future that I envisioned the world to be. And once you envision that there is a possibility the world can become like this, we work towards it. But we also need to be very smart in how we're going to achieve and accomplish our vision. Right?
Yeah.
It's not possible for us to take investors' money or use the company's money and price the product so low to the point that you can just give it out for very low cost or even free. It's just not possible.
Yeah.
But there is a theory, it's called the Moore's Law.
Okay.
Same for GPUs and computing chips itself. In AI, computing power is expensive now.
Yeah.
But eventually, more people uses it, the more production it actually goes through, the more the price will drop.
Yeah.
Same for genomics itself.
Yeah.
The more people actually uses it, the more we actually sell it, the more we actually democratize this particular technology in Indonesia, the more the price would drop to the point that it becomes affordable. And that's where, in my opinion, it would get to the point of democratization for people. And that is essential. I don't think this is a government's responsibility or even one private sector's responsibility.
Yeah.
It is a collaborative effort.
Yeah.
Even down to our orang tua, the younger generation. It's a collaborative effort. People always ask me, there is this DNA company around, there's this healthcare company around in Indonesia. How are they different from yours? Or they're your competitors? Our market is too small to say that there is a competition, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. I truly believe that there is no such thing as competition, at least for our industry. There are only partners that we yet to partner with. And I think once again, if I could really just send out this message, and this is something very important, it's something that we all should work towards in democratizing this technology so that everybody will have access to their healthcare data sets.
Amen.
Amen.
Kalau semua orang bisa mengetahui DNA-nya, setidaknya mereka bisa lebih aware bahwa bahkan beberapa makanan sama sekali tidak bisa dimakan oleh siapapun. Karena sekarang, karena mereka nggak terlalu aware tentang kesehatan, mereka lebih penting memikirkan kalau mereka sudah sakit, mereka harus ngapain.
Yeah.
Tapi ketika mereka lebih aware tentang kesehatan, hidupnya pasti berubah. Terkait hal itu, berarti report spesifik yang dikasih ke klien setelah tes DNA, itu bentuknya hasil interpretasi yang seperti apa? Apakah sudah ada misalnya kamu hindari roti, kamu perbanyak makan jagung, kamu hindari ikan, atau seperti apa sih?
So the results come in the form of, we're talking about either in the form of PDF and also interpretation over the phone itself, right? That customer journey is something that we provide people with an option. They have both options to actually choose from. They want to read from a PDF or they want to read from their apps. They can do that. The kind of reports that we provide from nutrigenomics, which is nutrition, can you eat gluten? Can you not take carbs? Should you take alcohol? How is your response to alcohol flush? We provide this sort of things, all the way to your mental health. Are you a person that have high risk capability? What's your gambling addiction? All these things. So we actually provide that.
That's included in DNA.
Yes.
Oh, gambling addiction.
Are you potentially a good trader? That's also in your DNA.
Oh yeah, talent and
Yes.
something like that.
Yes. So all these are informations that can be known if we were to actually learn more about ourselves, right? And that sort of information, again, is essential in my opinion, whether you look at it in the form of fun or whether you are looking at it in the form of, I need to know whether do I have a high risk of gambling addiction so that I will not go to a casino. It's good to know. And it's good to act on once you know it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the kind of information that we actually share with our users.
Nutrition, talent.
Health, of course.
Okay.
Ancestry as well. We will tell you about your ancestry. What is the
Okay.
kind of, where did your parents came from, the lineage, how many percent of a Chinese you are, how many percent of an Indonesian, etc.
Kalau bicara tentang health, itu artinya apakah mendeteksi yang sekarang sedang sakit atau yang berpotensi sakit?
Potential. So we will talk about predisposition, we talk about potential, we talk about the things that might not have happened, but you have a high risk or low risk on. Yeah.
Kalau orang umumnya lakukan medical check up,
Sure.
setahun sekali, setahun 2 kali, apakah kalau DNA tes untuk health check up ini seumur hidup 1 kali? Atau kan DNA seharusnya tidak berubah
Yes.
gitu ya? Apakah seumur hidup 1 kali atau seperti apa?
Once in a lifetime, but there are many types of report that you can actually get. Even though it's once in a lifetime, you can do an ancestry test using the same data sets. You can do a consumer genomics test. You can do a nutrition test. You can also do, for example, oncology test, or even a pharmacogenomics, which tells you what kind of obat you should take and not take.
Even medicine itu pengaruh sama DNA.
Yes. And I think really to ensure that users, the people who are listening and the users understand what's the purpose of such tests, it's best to consult with a genetic counselor. So it's not just, even though the reports is simple to understand, we would not encourage users to just try to interpret it yourself.
Okay.
Because we provide genetic counselor, or if there is any doctors out there like the clinics, beauty clinics, that the doctors, they understand this kind of genetic reports, they are able to interpret it for you. And that is essential.
Ya.
Because doctors are, sebenarnya they are the end user of your genetic result.
Ya.
Yeah.
Saya sehari-hari kerja sebagai marketing consultant. Fokusnya memang hanya klinik kecantikan. Satu-satunya di Indonesia yang marketing consultant fokus di klinik kecantikan, ya cuma saya. Nah, saya harapnya itu dari ribuan partner klinik kecantikan, setidak-tidaknya yang targetnya middle up itu mungkin bisa 80-85%. Seharusnya semua terinformasi tentang Asaren atau sejenisnya. Ya saya bahkan lupa ya, mungkin ada beberapa sejenis tapi ya dari beberapa brand lah gitu ya.
Yeah.
Supaya setidaknya orang tuh sadar bahwa DNA itu kan sesuatu yang seumur hidup ya DNA itu begitu. Kalau dia memahami dirinya DNA-nya, semuanya tuh bisa lebih strategis dan tepat.
Of course.
Setidaknya buat memilih makanan, memilih obat dan lain sebagainya. Kisaran biaya berapa yang harus dikeluarkan orang kalau dia hanya mau mengecek yang nutrition? Once in a lifetime. 20 juta, 50 juta rupiah.
No, it's less than. There is a nutrition report that Asaran actually have, and we are looking to launch it to the market for less than 2 juta.
Tua.
Less than 2 juta. Not even 2 juta, less.
Oke.
Yeah,
1 million plus.
1 million plus.
1 juta rupiah.
Bisa cicilan juga kan. So
Cicilan seumur hidup lah. Oh, interesting. Tapi itu belum di launch yang nutrition.
It's not launched yet, but we will be launching soon.
Oh, berarti yang sekarang sudah di launch tesnya adalah yang
Ancestry.
Ancestry.
We have got pharmacogenomics for obat,
Oke.
oncology as well,
What is oncology?
cancer testing.
Cancer apapun.
Yeah, we will tell you whether there is potentially a marker in your body.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oke.
And consumer genomics, which is 360 reports telling you about the kind of examples that I was telling you. Do you have a high risk to gambling addiction, alcohol addiction, cocaine addiction? Cocaine.
Addiction?
Yeah, cocaine. Yeah.
Oh, itu juga ada ya?
Yeah.
Ya bener sih, kalau terlalu banyak di dapur dan terlalu sering masak.
Bukan cocaine. Cocaine.
Cocaine?
Yeah.
Bukannya semua orang pasti
I don't think
addiction?
so.
Oh enggak?
I don't think so. For me, for example, no matter how I try alcohol, I don't like it. I never drink alcohol.
Tapi cocaine?
I have never tried cocaine.
Ya, maksudnya cocaine bukan sesuatu yang memang berefek secara. Mungkin ada orang yang lebih mudah ketergantungan kokain daripada yang lain gitu ya.
So I have read articles where people who try cocaine and their body is not able to absorb. So they basically have a very adverse effect when they try this sort of drugs. Yeah. So it's not like everybody is suitable. It's not like after you take a particular pill, you become excited and then you can. No, you don't.
Not everyone.
No.
Nikotin, kafein itu juga ada di DNA.
Ada.
Dan itu hasilnya ada di consumer.
Ada.
Itu. Oh.
Yes.
Wow. Oke, aku tertarik nih. Kalau kita bahas satu-satu yang ancestry,
Sure.
itu biayanya di kisaran berapa, Mr. Al?
Below 2 juta.
Below 7 ya?
Below 2.
Below 2.
Again, we are trying to revise the pricing.
Wow.
Everything should be below 2. Yeah.
Oke. Ancestry 1 jutaan. Kalau yang farmakologi, yang obat?
Oh, itu lebih mahal. It is around at this current moment
10,
above
20?
5. Above 5 juta.
Above 5. 5 jutaan, tapi ini kan sebenarnya untuk konteks yang sebenarnya orang sudah sakit.
Sure.
Atau setidaknya dia punya riwayat penyakit yang harus memakan obat gitu ya.
So I got my pharmacogenomics result as well. I am not, I touch wood, I'm still quite healthy, but I know my pharmacogenomics result because I want to know what kind of obat I should not take, what kind of beta block I should not take, misalnya. Yeah.
I see.
All this pricing that I mentioned are all pricing that is in process of revising.
Okay.
So it is all aligned with our vision of wanting to democratize
Ya.
DNA testing.
Yeah.
So that to me is an essential part of what we as a company need to do.
Ya.
And it's important.
Ya. Ini to be honest ya. Aku rasa ini sesuatu yang pasti mungkin 99% akan aku lakukan adalah setelah podcast ini aku akan bawa orang tua. Ya kedua belah pihak, yang mertua dan orang tua yang masih ada buat ngetes, karena itu menurutku itu investasi yang sangat panjang. Kalau dia tahu apa yang harus dia cek, kenapa enggak? Apalagi ini AI based. Seberapa reliable?
Well, the number that our AI tells us is 98.5% and above accuracy. Yes.
Ya, karena kalau tanpa AI ini sebenarnya tidak memungkinkan ya.
It's just not possible. You have got so many DNA markers within your body. It's just not possible for us to be able to interpret it.
Tapi kan genomic database company itu nggak baru sekarang ada kan?
It started from America. It started from US.
Itu tahun
Maybe
10 years ago?
10, 12 years ago.
sudah menggunakan AI.
Yes.
Oh, jadi memang semua genomic database company itu pasti menggunakan AI.
That company that started many years ago, they were focused on clinical. So they are not focused on genomic. We are a little bit different. We start with genomic and then we added the clinical part to it.
Oke,
Yes.
start with genomic. Makanya juga ada yang non-clinical seperti pengetesan bakat,
Yeah.
minat.
Yes.
Itu pun terada di DNA ya.
Yes.
Ini menarik dan kontroversial karena saya akan bertanya satu hal. Menurut Mr. Al,
Yeah.
apakah LGBT itu juga ada kecenderungan yang bisa dites dari DNA?
Well, first of all,
Sexual orientation. Karena ada beberapa ahli yang berpendapat ya, ada beberapa ahli yang di bidangnya sama berkata tidak.
first of all, just call me L. Don't call me Mr. L. On the topic of LGBT itself, I have not researched enough to be able to give a scientific answer to
Diplomatic
it.
answer.
Yeah, but according to my former Prime Minister, Mr. Lee Kuan Yew,
Oke.
I believe one of the statement that he made was it is related to how you were born,
Oke.
and that
Nurture.
could be nurture, and it could be nature, based on his message. But that is an area that, to be very honest, I have not yet explored. I have not yet. I have not done enough R&D to be able to.
Ya. So, maksudku karena klien,
Yeah.
customer mungkin berpikir kesehatan satu hal,
Yes.
tapi kesehatan mental
Yeah.
itu hal yang lain.
Yes.
Bisa jadi faktanya di lapangan, kalau kita bicara tentang fakta, ada beberapa orang yang terlahir dengan kelainan kromosom.
Yes.
Dengan terlahir dengan kelainan kromosom saya sudah jelas orientasi seksualnya pasti berbeda.
Yes.
Karena kelainan kromosom. Ini cuman fakta general aja yang tidak dibuat-buat.
Yeah.
Tapi maksud saya adalah semua orang merasa bahwa kalau dia LGBT pasti dia mengalami kelainan di DNA-nya. Itu yang saya tidak setuju. Karena menurut saya paham kalau ada orang bilang ya memang saya terlahir seperti ini karena DNA saya memang seperti ini. Ya kalau bisa dites dan bisa dibuktikan, mungkin penerapan dan nurturing orang tua ke anaknya itu bisa lebih tepat. Oh iya, kamu memang punya kelainan DNA dan terbukti kok nih di tes DNA. Ayo kita nurture kamu dengan baik. Tapi jangan sampai orang yang tidak ada kelainan DNA apapun terus bilang, wah saya kelainan DNA dari lahir.
Which I agree with you, but again, it brings us back to the point that it needs to be democratized and price could always be an issue. Not everybody have the ability to pay a few juta for that, right? There is a word that I learned in Indonesia. It's called matre.
Ya.
If you were to use a diplomatic word to describe this trait, it's called reward dependence.
Oke.
Yeah, kan? Yeah. How do you react on the topic of when you are being rewarded or not rewarded? That's also something that is, in my opinion, related to mental, and it's in your DNA.
Ya.
On our report itself, we are able to tell you how reward dependent you are. If a person react better with rewards or no rewards.
Interesting.
Yeah. So on that topic itself, should a father-in-law and mother-in-law test on their future son-in-law or daughter-in-law before they get married? Well, they could as well.
Oke, kalau misalnya daya juang atau kerja keras itu ketekunan itu ada di DNA gak?
So this is interesting. There are some traits that we are able to interpret on that, but we did not want to be so controversial. That's why we took it out. But yes, the answer is yes, we are able to interpret to a certain extent.
I see. Karena sangat tidak enak kalau bilang kamu born lazy. Gitu. Gitu maksudnya kan ya?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ya, kamu born lazy. Tapi kalau maksudku nanya ini karena aku sudah punya solusi lainnya.
Yeah.
Karena memang aku sangat yakin sebagian orang terlahir malas. Salah satunya saya.
Sure.
Tapi malas bukan berarti selalu jadi negatif. Bisa jadi orang-orang malas lah yang menciptakan banyak penemuan karena mereka terlalu malas untuk melakukan sesuatu yang rutin, mereka menemukan hal yang lebih kreatif. Tapi maksudnya adalah ya itu adalah sesuatu yang ada di DNA, ya kan?
But I think that actually comes down a lot to nurture, right?
Iya, mungkin 80% bahkan.
Probably.
Mungkin lebih.
Because there is no point in human history that men are supposed to sit down as much as we do today. From traveling point A to point B, saking macet. We don't. If you look at the past, hunters and predators and basically hunters,
Yeah.
on average, they walk 9 kilometers to 15 kilometers per day. And imagine in a year, they can walk as far as from LA to New York per year. And that is fascinating
Ya.
because people are not meant to be sitting down
Yeah.
all the time. But we do. But does that mean that we are lazy? That's debatable
Ya.
because it's nurture, right?
Ya.
Yeah.
Interesting. Bahkan, wah ini terlalu banyak yang menarik. Beberapa hal yang kontroversial tentang DNA, tapi saya perlu tahu. Cloning. Oke. Maksudnya adalah, teknik cloning yang menggunakan stem cell,
Sure.
itu sesuatu yang sudah memungkinkan untuk binatang dan memang legal di beberapa negara untuk dilakukan.
Yeah.
Biasanya kalau ada binatang lewat perlombaan, dia menang, biasanya dia akan dikloning dengan biaya setahu saya 12 miliar rupiah per binatang, per hewan. Lalu memang secara etika, kode etis medis tidak diperbolehkan mengkloning manusia. Satu yang mau saya tanya adalah apakah ketika mengkloning manusia menggunakan DNA-nya sendiri, itu DNA-nya memang akan sama persis atau bahkan cloning pun memiliki DNA yang berbeda?
I think the cloning itself, once again, I'm not an expert in cloning,
Yeah.
but from what I've learned so far, the DNA is supposed to be the same.
Oke.
But at the same time, I think this is also a very interesting point that you just made. Cloning on animals, what's the difference between cloning on human?
Why?
I think the ability for us to clone fully, to be successful in cloning a human is very low at this current moment. And that would also become an ethical issue because what if the cloning don't succeed?
Ya.
And then you create a human being that is deficient in certain things.
Ya.
Itu susahnya anaknya.
Ya.
ya kan? So that would be a ethical issue, but I
Yeah.
think more of the technology issue as well. But in the area of cloning, it is that particular technology is similar to a very controversial technology like gene editing,
Ya.
CRISPR-Cas9,
Ya.
CRISPR-Cas12.
Yeah.
There's many different types of gene editing tools available today.
Ya.
Is that something that is good or bad? It's debatable. It depends on how we use it, right?
Ya. Terkait CRISPR, sederhananya yang mungkin belum pernah mendengar itu adalah cara merekayasa DNA, terutama untuk keturunan.
Yes.
Misalnya kita punya DNA pembawa kanker, itu bisa sesuatu yang digunting supaya anak kita nggak perlu ngerasain sakit kanker
Yes.
dan potensi-potensinya. Tapi ternyata potensi CRISPR ini jadi makin drastis karena untuk merekayasa DNA itu dengan teknologi CRISPR jadi sangat murah, sangat affordable,
Yeah.
dan jadi sering dilakukan. Bahkan karena mereka terus mempelajarinya, mereka bisa mengedit warna bola mata, tinggi badan, postur tubuh.
Yes.
Itu semua memungkinkan.
Designer babies, right? And when you can get to the point of designing the baby that you want, is it still your baby? I think that's debatable.
Ya, tapi seenggaknya kalau untuk kesehatan, menurutku itu salah satu yang masuk akal. Ngapain kita tahu bahwa kita punya gen DNA pembawa kanker, terus kita sengaja tetap menurunkan, kenapa nggak yang itu kita potong?
Right.
Tapi apakah kalau itu kita potong, akan juga pasti berpengaruh ke hal yang lain, atau hanya potensi kankernya yang bisa terpotong?
There is still a lot of nurturing involved, right? It's always nature
Oh,
versus nurture. That nurturing is what you eat.
Ya,
Sugar is the main cause of cancer that I believe in.
Yeah.
If we take a lot of sugar, it will also affect how our body react to that cancer cell itself.
Yeah.
Tumor will eventually grow regardless of. We're talking about longevity as a whole.
Yeah.
If you live to the point of 150 years old,
oke,
let's just say,
ya,
a person is bound to have a tumor, whether is it benign or whether is it something serious. Question is, if you were to remove that predisposition in your body, does it mean that you will eliminate it totally? We don't have enough clinical trial to tell us that. But for sure, it helps, in my opinion. It helps to a very large extent. But CRISPR, like many new technologies today, mRNA,
Yeah.
even our COVID vaccine that we took, mRNA itself, is it something that is effective? Well, even the COVID vaccine was only approved because we were fighting against time.
Yeah.
So we don't have enough clinical trial to really tell us
Yeah.
the truth. But one thing for sure, the DNA that we were born in is how humanity teaches us and tells us a story.
Yeah.
Without all the flaws in our body, without all the flaws in humanity, we are not human.
Interesting point. I think in Japan they call it wabi-sabi. Yeah, perfect imperfect.
I like to think of it as kintsugi, putting together the broken porcelain and lining it with gold lines.
Yeah.
So we made our flaws better.
Interesting. Yang menarik adalah sekarang poin nurture. Karena faktanya dari yang semua kita diskusikan tadi, mau sexual orientation, health, apapun itu, minat bakat, nurture itu pendidikan, keluarga, lingkungan itu masih mayoritas memberikan pengaruh dibandingkan DNA itu sendiri. Sekalipun kita bisa memotong semua DNA penyebab kanker, kalau makan gula setiap hari kanker juga.
Yeah.
Jadi artinya nurture itu kenapa harus fokus hanya ke satu hal, kalau bisa fokus ke hal yang lebih signifikan. Tapi sekarang hal yang lebih signifikan adalah saya yakin sekali Mr. Al, still call you Mr. Al itu sudah melakukan sangat banyak studi, hasil riset terkait kesehatan dan lain sebagainya. Walaupun bukan seorang dokter, tapi saya penasaran hal kecil saja yang pernah saya dengar bahwa Steve Jobs pernah bilang salah satu marketing yang sangat berhasil padahal tidak benar-benar bermakna untuk kehidupan adalah susu. Susu putih, susu sapi yang dikonsumsi manusia, Steve Jobs bilang itu salah satu yang marketingnya sangat berhasil. Di Indonesia itu bahkan 4 sehat 5 sempurna. Tapi pada umumnya manusia itu tidak bermanfaat sama sekali. Bahkan susu di beberapa riset yang mungkin sekarang dianggap kontroversial, tapi saya tetap percaya bahwa susu putih sapi membuat manusia lebih beresiko kanker daripada tidak mengkonsumsi susu sapi. Dan kalau untuk konteks kalsium, saya lebih percaya kita bisa dapat kalsium dari brokoli dan lain sebagainya. Banyak banget yang mengandung kalsium.
Yes.
Bahkan kalsium yang tinggi di susu sapi tidak bisa dicerna oleh tubuh. Makanya juga banyak yang intoleran. Tapi konteksnya susu sapi.
Yeah.
Dari sudut pandang Mr. Al seperti apa?
Well, there is a lot of scientific. Again, I can only speak based on facts, right? And what I've read so far, it's true that milk itself doesn't give you the best nutrients, but we are still feeding our kids milk. We are still feeding them things that we think is supposed to be healthy for them. Orang tua kita always say you have to makan nasi biar kuat,
Yeah.
biar you can strength. That's not true as well, right?
Ya.
But do we debate with them? We don't really debate with them. All we know is that there must be a balance to everything. I don't think that milk in itself is classified as nggak sehat juga. Otherwise, regulators would probably have to stop it as well. But if I could really conclude how the society is today, we need to know balance, like what Thanos said. Everything's all about balance. Want sugar, take a bit of sugar, it's fine. You want milk, take a bit of milk, it's fine as well. As long as there's balance, right?
Mr. Al ini selain cocok menjadi pebisnis, cocok juga sebagai politikus. Karena selalu berusaha menemukan jawaban yang aman. Karena sebenarnya aku mau bertanya seperti ini. Selain susu putih, fakta apa sih yang manusia atau masyarakat Indonesia harus tahu? Apa saja yang seharusnya tidak dikonsumsi rutin? Nih, nggak ada masalah minum susu putih.
Of course.
Kalau dalam hal sesekali. Tapi menurut saya sangatlah konyol sengaja menabung, bekerja keras, menghasilkan uang untuk membeli susu putih untuk anak. Yang faktanya sama sekali secara garis besar tidak memberikan pengaruh kesehatan. Seharusnya memberikan, kalau kalsium ya memberikan brokoli. Kalau dia melakukan itu, uangnya bisa dihemat lebih banyak dan lain sebagainya. Terus kenapa kita tetap ngomong begitu? Saya ngomong begini pasti saya akan dipantau oleh pebisnis susu. Tapi ya menurut saya itu suatu hal yang menurut saya itu sudah scientific. Sudah diteliti. Terus kenapa kita masih tetap bilang bahwa minum susu itu sehat? Bahkan, sorry to say, beberapa program pemerintah, beberapa negara, mungkin bukan Indonesia, adalah pemberian susu. Yang menurut saya, ngapain? Oke. Selain susu putih maksud saya, apa seharusnya yang tidak diberikan secara rutin hasil bacaan-bacaan dari banyak data DNA dan pembelajaran jurnal-jurnalnya selain susu putih, hal apa saja yang selama ini masyarakat konsumsi rutin padahal seharusnya tidak perlu. Karena itu tidak terlalu menyehatkan. Susu putih, gula, apalagi sih Mr. Al?
Salt.
Garam.
That's potassium, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so salt is another thing that I think causes a lot of damage to our body, but at the same time, we are still taking it, right? But if I could just go back to the topic of susu itself, again, I'm speaking based on data itself. Almost all the Asian genomics itself that I've seen have got very weak lactose intolerant. So we can't take susu.
Berapa persen dari Asian kalau menurut data? 90%?
Let's talk about
99%?
100 users itself. There is only 6 users, based on our own study, there are only 6 users that have got biasa tolerance towards lactose.
Dari puluhan ribu database, hanya 6 yang masih bisa toleran.
And the 6 are all Caucasians.
Oh, oke.
Interesting, right?
Wow, berarti 0 yang Asia.
Yeah.
Caucasian itu bule gitu ya?
Not even Arabs, not even Central Asians, not even Southeast Asians.
Yeah.
None. They're all Caucasians.
Wow. Dengan begini maksudku ini adalah clickbait sederhana yang bisa membuat orang sadar bahwa wah jangan-jangan selama ini berapa banyak hal lagi yang saya nggak tahu tentang DNA, tentang tubuh saya sendiri. Padahal saya tahu semua gosip artis, semua gosip selebritis, tapi diri sendiri saya tidak tahu bahwa ternyata saya selama ini intoleran susu. Bahkan bukan hanya saya, tapi hampir semua orang Asia intoleran susu. Tapi saya tetap memaksa untuk bekerja keras, membeli susu, memberikan anak saya susu. Padahal anak saya makin sakit. Terus kenapa harus menjalani hidupnya seperti itu? Bahkan kemarin di TikTok viral, seorang ibu memberikan anaknya minuman susu kental manis. Susu kental manis, bahkan bukan susu. Ditambahin gula pasir.
Okay.
Diaduk, terus ya dikasih. Terus netizen bilang, itu tidak sehat Bu, itu terlalu manis.
Yes.
Jangan diseduh seperti itu.
Sure.
Terus dijawab sama dia, loh nah namanya susu ya diseduh, ya harusnya diminum, memang buat apa lagi? Ya jadi faktanya menurut saya sebelum melakukan pengetesan DNA, salah satu yang harus dites itu adalah mungkin juga adalah setidaknya informasi umum seperti tadi susu. Toh dari hasil data yang sudah benar-benar dijalankan satu persatu, belum ada satu orang Asia pun yang dites oleh Asaren toleran terhadap susu. Itu baru
We
susu.
don't have it here.
Gula pasir, belum lagi garam. Itu 3 hal itu saja. Kalau dipotong selesai. Tapi kalau konteksnya garam, mungkin itu lebih ke proporsi. Maksudnya sedikit masih oke.
It's all about balance again, right? So, and it's not just garam itself. We're talking about other processed food. Anything that is processed, in my opinion, for me, I'll try my best not to take it. But of course, if we makan di luar, sometimes it's agak sulit, right? But anything that is processed, sebenarnya is just not good.
Yeah.
Whatever that we eat needs to be natural. The meat from the animal, the fruits from the tree, it needs to be natural. And that's what I try my best to follow a routine.
Ya.
Instant noodle is very famous here.
Yes.
Gorengan juga.
Yes.
Do we we can't stop everyone from taking it. Of course, we also are not in a position to stop anyone from taking it.
Yes.
But as long as there's balance, I think people can still enjoy it.
Ya.
Gorengan, like it causes a lot of inflammation within the body, right?
Ya.
People are still taking it. Like I have seen how some people makan gorengan, sakit, after they have recovered, langsung makan gorengan.
Nah, kadang-kadang orang tuh misinterpret tentang balance. Senin gorengan,
Yeah.
Selasa instan noodle, ya kan? Rabu ya balance-nya mereka seperti itu.
Boba tea.
Ah,
Yeah.
ya kanker usus lah dan lain sebagainya itu terlalu banyak hal. Jadi ya berapa banyak kekonyolan yang harus kita lakukan ketika mereka bahkan manusia bahkan kita sendiri juga nggak tahu ilmunya.
Yes.
Jadi menurut saya edukasi tentang hal-hal ini adalah hal yang sangat penting.
But I mean, food sometimes can be hard to control. I understand, but there's one thing that can be controlled, and we don't. In my opinion, a lot of the young people, termasuk kita, we don't control as much, and that is also a problem. We don't control our sleep. Sleep, in my opinion, is
Okay.
very important as well.
Oke.
We can control sleep, but we don't. Sometimes we choose to work late, we choose to party, we choose to go out. That is also a problem.
Interesting.
And sleep is a universal thing. Regardless of you got good genomics or no good genomics, lack of sleep will destroy us.
What kind of sleep is a healthy sleep?
Deep sleep, deep sleep.
Like it must be 8 hours or 5 hours, or it must be at 10 o'clock sleep.
Definitely be away from blue light. Stay away from blue light before you sleep. At
Like
least
phone,
2
gadget?
hours. Yeah, at least 2 hours before you sleep. Stay away from blue light. That is almost impossible in today's time.
Yeah, sure.
And if you can stay away from blue light, at least try to sleep before 11 o'clock, in my opinion. And if you can't sleep before 11 o'clock, at least try to have a solid 4 hours, which is you sleep 8 hours, at least 4 hours needs to be deep sleep. And if you can't do that as well, and you are a light sleeper, you always wake up to go to the toilet or to wake up because someone disturbed you, that is going to be sulit. It's going to hurt your health a lot.
Interesting. Berarti hal praktis yang bisa dibawa pulang sama founders hari ini adalah kalau misalnya mau tidur, sebenarnya seperti menjaga tidak minum
Yeah.
sebelum tidur, 2 jam, 3 jam sebelum tidur tidak minum. Seperti itulah juga 2 jam, 3 jam tidak memegang handphone,
Yes.
gadget, dan lain sebagainya. Itu akan membantu
Yeah.
untuk tidur yang lebih dalam. Atau setidak-tidaknya, kalau misalkan gadget itu agak sulit, setidak-tidaknya minum.
Yeah.
Karena kalau tidak minum, maka tidak kencing ketika tidur.
Yes.
Kalau tidak kencing ketika tidur, ya mungkin deep sleep-nya itu lebih dapat.
Mungkin. Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, the last thing, in my opinion, is something that can be controlled, but people don't control as well, is exercise.
Oke.
Well, I think exercising is very important, right? At least harus gerak. But if you don't move, yeah, you don't have muscle. That's when we suffer when we are older as well.
Ya.
Exercise and sleep can be controlled, but people don't really want to do that.
Tapi ini jadi menarik karena makanan itu berhubungan sama DNA. Apakah sleep dan exercise berhubungan sama DNA?
Definitely, we're talking about weight loss. We're talking about muscle gaining muscle. That's all related to our DNA. Again, we are able to interpret that part.
Is it custom? Maksudnya apakah beberapa orang seharusnya tidur 5 jam dan beberapa orang seharusnya tidur 8 jam?
So after you get your DNA report, usually consult with a genetic counselor. If there is a need for you to consult more, they will be able to create programs for you. And that's all customized and what we call personalized healthcare. Yeah, it can be done as well within our
Dan
ecosystem.
exercise pun disesuaikan dengan DNA.
Bisa. Yeah.
Ini lebih ke marketing atau ya opportunity business atau memang scientific?
Itu bukan, yeah, of course there is a business element inside,
Okay.
but that is, in my opinion, a very integral part of genomic testing. Like, what's the point you know and you have all these data sets, but you don't act on it?
Iya. I see.
Yeah.
Iya. Menarik. Setahu saya juga Asaren berkolaborasi dengan beberapa negara luar.
Yes.
Jepang, China,
Yes.
Arab.
UAE, yes.
Ya. untuk melakukan apa? R&D atau malah mau berjualan di sana?
No, we don't sell the DNA test kit over there. So the definition of research or R&D, mungkin to a lot of people who don't fully understand, they would think that oh itu buang-buang duit doang.
Oke.
We do research, but in the area of understanding the people or the objective better, right? And eventually, whatever research that we invest or whatever research that the customer invests in, there is supposed to be an output. The output itself can either come in the form of data sets, or the output itself can come in the form of obat, atau, for example, diagnostic tool.
Oke.
So that is part of the research initiative, and that is also part of the objective of why people are willing to pay for that research. Every country have got different focus. Japan focuses on reproductive health.
Ya.
If you're talking about UAE, they also have got different focus. We have different types of project that we've partnered specifically for companies from different countries. Yeah.
Interesting. Karena biasanya kalau bicara tentang Indonesia, kita hanya akan bicara tentang mengkonsumsi, tapi bukan meriset dan mempelajari. Setidak-tidaknya biasanya kita hanya terbiasa import trading.
Yeah.
Tapi nggak benar-benar mendalami sesuatu sampai mendalam. Asaren memiliki berapa karyawan sekarang?
About 60.
60.
Right.
60 Indonesian people atau 60 foreigners?
Sorry, 59 and a half. So I am the half. The rest are all Indonesian. We
All
make it a
Indonesian?
point. Yeah, we make it a point that it all have to be Indonesian. Even the professors and all that we work with has to be Indonesian.
Ya. Karena menurutku itu jadi R&D yang tadi dilakukan di beberapa negara akan jadi menarik untuk Indonesia ketika itu membuat transfer ilmu ke Indonesia. Tapi kalau itu transfer ilmunya ke foreigners, profesor, ya itu menarik buat dunia ini, tapi kurang menarik buat Indonesia.
I totally agree with you. And when we first started the business, we had so much of difficulty trying to find talents. But over the past few years, 7 years, people became interested. There is more talents that actually came back to Indonesia. And I am very proud to say that Asaren, for a fact, we are going to be almost 100% Indonesian.
Oh, you can say 100%.
100% Indonesian then
Yeah.
driving this change, right?
Yeah.
If we go back to what is Asaren, we are a movement. Now, how can this movement that we are trying to drive in Indonesia or in Southeast Asia not be driven by mainly Indonesian? Doesn't make sense. And that's why we have a very strong focus on hiring Indonesian talents.
Wow. Interesting. Apalagi kalau satu hari Asaren akan jadi leading company untuk Asia Tenggara, Southeast Asia, Asia Pasifik,
Amen.
bahkan mungkin dunia. Dan dimulai dari Indonesia. Itu sangat membanggakan.
Thank you. Leading collaborator. Let's collaborate.
Oh iya ya. No competition.
No competition.
No competition, no competitor. Only collaborator.
Yes.
Iya, iya. Menarik. Fox, sebelum kita selesaikan episode ini, aku beri kesempatan buat Mr. Al, kalau ada yang mau disampaikan untuk para penonton sebagai key takeaways, silakan.
Well, I think, again, knowing yourself, knowing your data, that's the most important thing in life, in my opinion. There is no point in not knowing yourself. You need to know your data. You need to know your health. And that starts with having access to your clinical and genomic data sets itself. Eventually, you will get to the point of democratization. But until then, we should be part of this movement in democratizing it. So I hope that everyone who is listening to this can try it out. Whether is it Ancestry, whether is it just a MCU test, try it out and be amazed.
Interesting. Kalau Asaren adalah sebuah perusahaan, saya berbangga Asaren tercipta di Indonesia. Tapi sekedar di sana. Tapi kalau Asaren adalah sebuah movement, saya tertarik untuk bergabung di dalamnya. Dan kalau Asaren adalah sebuah movement, mungkin kita semua seharusnya berada di dalamnya. Membuat Indonesia bahkan dunia jadi tempat yang lebih baik, jadi tempat yang lebih sehat, bukan karena menemukan teknologi atau obat yang terbarukan, yang lebih hebat, tapi justru lebih kepada hal yang lebih fundamental, mencegah sebelum itu menjadi sebuah penyakit. Sampai jumpa lain kesempatan. Bye folks.